again! A concept that has always intrigued me and almost even plagued me is the concept of living on the hyphen. The hyphen being this nebulous intermediary margin between the term personally Moroccan and the term American, which makes me a Moroccan American. Taiye Selasi brings attention to this confusion that surrounds identity, especially as it's exhibited through nationality. I wholeheartedly agree with her challenge of the status quo and her mission to transition the question from asking, where are you from, to instead, where are you a local? I think that it very necessarily and appropriately accommodates for genuine experience that travels with a person, and how identity isn't always defined by DNA or ancestry or lineage. This important shift of focus takes into account individuality and even tribality, which contributes more to identity than the mere sovereignty of any nation or any country. I wanted to take the time to evaluate myself through the 3R theory that she has developed and crafted on her own, just as she advised to all the people who are watching her TED Talk. So for the first R, which is rituals, I identify pretty closely with her personal interpretation. Growing up in Orlando, Florida, my rituals are largely of the Global South, and have largely been of the Global South. Cuisine, clothing, familial ties, all of those are inextricably linked to Morocco for me, with an influential tinge of American culture and Orlando, which is my locale. On to the next R, which is relationships. Obviously, I go to school, I see my peers and my classmates and my teachers and my administrators, and I interact with them constantly and on a day-to-day basis. They constitute the majority of my interpersonal connections. But I also am in contact with my family back in Morocco, and I'm also in contact with my friends all across the US, whom I've met on various occasions and through various mediums. In all these cases, it isn't really where the person resides or where they come from that defines the relationship, but rather, the memories that I've shared with them and the experiences that I've had with them. So that's also just another example of how asking where someone's a local is more effective than asking where they're from, because that often doesn't even tell the entire story of someone's life. For the third R, restrictions, I have a US passport, I was born here, I've lived almost the entirety of my life here in Orlando, Florida, with the exception of, long visits back to Morocco. And what's restricting me from living there, for example, is, for the most part, opportunity. I've been exposed to a plethora of opportunities here in the US, whether that's educational or otherwise, even with EF tours, that I wouldn't necessarily be exposed to in any other place, or wouldn't even have the accessibility to. So it isn't, in my case, a matter of legality, but more a matter of fulfilling my potential and my capability to fulfill my potential in an environment that really allows me to thrive and is supportive. The stories that Taiye Selasi gives of her friends highlights the diversity of existence, and it shows that her 3R theory that she's crafted can be bent to fit the mold of individuals, but also is a solid backbone for, accommodating for their idiosyncrasies and their unique happenings. Another interesting thing that Taiye discusses is how nationality sort of denotes superiority or inferiority. She mentions that with China versus the US versus, Bangladesh. I think this is toxic, as it, strips people from their core and distracts from the similarities that transcend these superimposed boundaries of nationality. We're all a lot more similar than we think, and a lot more similar than we even give ourselves credit for. She also claims that humanity is disorderly, beautifully so, I believe, and so it's only right to highlight the disorderly nature of experience and human experience and interpersonal and intrapersonal experience when attempting to get a backstory out of someone or attempting to place that label of background. Of course, asking where someone is a local would directly enforce this concept, and I'm sure Taiye would agree. Taiye's cadence and her speech are phenomenal throughout the entire TED Talk, and her story surpasses that. She seems like a very inquisitive and thoughtful person, and those are traits that I find so admirable and seek to mirror in my daily life. As a student, as a peer, as a global citizen, as a human being, I enjoyed the TED Talk very much, to say the least, and I aspire to be as captivating as Taiye Selasi given the chance to speak or present at the 2017 EF Tours Peru Summit. Thank you.